Welcome to Accommodating Biodiversity in Nordic Offshore Wind Projects, a new report from the Nordic Council of Ministers. My name is Marton, Leander Vølstad, advisor and coordinator of this work at Nordic Energy Research. We have a vision to become the most integrated and sustainable region in the world by 2030. To achieve this, a massive build-out of renewable energy is needed. New methods are needed for this infrastructure to be built in balance with nature. Earlier last year, the Nordic Council of Ministers commissioned a study to find good examples of coexistence between biodiversity and offshore wind farms. And we are joined by a distinguished panel of experts who are leading international efforts to link energy and nature to accelerate the green transition across the world.
One of the key differences is the information that you have for understanding where you might be able to place offshore wind farms in the North Sea and in the Baltic Sea in areas to ideally avoid and minimize impacts as far as possible. Such biodiversity data is often not available, at least not to the same extent. And so there's a real risk there that you end up pursuing offshore wind expansion into areas where it turns out there are actually significant issues that were underestimated or simply overseen.
Key to avoiding conflict between renewable energy and wildlife is good spatial planning that enables us to identify ecologically sensitive areas and avoid them. And it's really encouraging to see the emphasis of the report being launched today places on strategic spatial planning.
We're already seeing new mines being developed linked to the renewable energy sector. The most efficient way to meet this greater demand for raw materials is through recycling. If these mines and this raw material generation and extraction is not managed responsibly, then there is a real danger that the renewable energy generation that we need so badly could end up having adverse impacts on biodiversity.
As a lead scientist, I spend the bulk of my time leading a strategy that we call Development by Design that seeks to address some of the fundamental flaws in development planning and permitting. TNC has three main focal areas towards tackling climate change: improving policy commitments, natural climate solutions work, and renewable energy siting solutions.
FIs are encouraged to work with biodiversity groups to develop more tools, models, and products to mobilize more finance resources in support of biodiversity conservation practices.
There are lots of initiatives. A lot of it is acting independently, and we're all doing our own thing. We're often doing it very well, but often not really linking up with others and taking account of what else is happening. Because we do need to address this issue. It's important, it's an urgent issue, and it needs to be done now. I think there's been a lot of talking, and that's something that we're trying to address. It's not just the motivations, the intentions, but rather to say, look, let's do something. Let's take some real action.